When Edwin Castro from California won the biggest Powerball jackpot of all time in 2022, he became one of the richest men in America overnight. With $2.04 billion to his name, everyone, including Edwin himself, thought his life was set now. No more problems. But what he didn't know was that something or someone was coming straight for him after that big win. So, what really happened after Edwin Castro got the money? Let us tell you his shocking story actualized. The big win. When Edwin Castro's name was finally made public, nobody even knew who he was. He was just a quiet guy from Altadena, California, who studied architecture and lived a very normal life. Before that one ticket, he was in a small apartment, working as a mechanic, doing what millions of people do every day, just getting by. Then, one slip of paper changed his life forever. The Powerball draw happened on November 7, 2022. The winning numbers were 10, 33, 41, 47, 56, and Powerball 10. But nobody came forward right away. Days went by. Weeks passed. People started to think maybe the ticket was lost, or maybe the winner had no clue they had just hit the biggest jackpot in US history. Finally, after months of silence, on February 14, 2023, Valentine's Day of all days, the California Lottery revealed the name, Edwin Castro. He was the one, the only person to match all 6 numbers. Out of millions of tickets sold across the country, he was the single winner of $2.04 billion. It was the biggest lottery prize in American history. And then came another shock. He didn't show up to get the money. Edwin kept himself hidden and sent his lawyers instead. That's when the public got its first clue. This was not going to be your typical lottery winner story. The California Lottery confirmed he picked the lump sum payout instead of the 30-year annuity. That instantly dropped the prize down to about $997.6 million before taxes. Then came the federal tax cut, which was 37% gone. By the time it hit his account, Edwin had about $628.5 million left. It was still more money than most people could dream of, but far from the $2 billion advertised. Since California doesn't tax lottery winnings, he actually kept more than he would have if he had lived in another state. Call it luck on top of luck. So here was Edwin Castro, a man who went from mechanic paychecks to hundreds of millions in cash overnight. And when someone wins a jackpot this massive, everyone waits to see what they will buy first. For Edwin Castro, the answer was real estate, cars, and a life of quiet luxury. His lifestyle upgrade. The very first thing he did was walk away from his small Altadena home and go straight into Hollywood royalty territory. His first purchase was a $25.5 million mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Nearly 14,000 square feet of pure extravagance. The house sits high above Los Angeles with glass walls stretching from floor to ceiling, so the whole skyline is basically his wallpaper. Inside, there are 5 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, a movie theater, a wine cellar, a gym, a spa, and even a game room. Out back, an infinity-edge pool stretches toward the city view. And the garage has space for 7 cars. Edwin clearly had plans for that. This house was once nicknamed Palazzo di Vista. It was designed to wow anyone who walked in. Now his neighbors include Jimmy Kimmel, Ariana Grande, and Dakota Johnson. Not bad for a guy who was almost anonymous a few months earlier. But that was not Edwin's only purchase. Just days later, he picked up another home, this time back in his old neighborhood of Altadena. The price tag was $4 million. This one was totally different. Japanese-inspired design, with 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, its own theater, pool, and a spa-like garden. From what people say, he bought it for his parents. This shows us that he does not just think about himself. He wants his family nearby, comfortable and taken care of. Still, the real shocking purchase came later. Edwin added a $47 million Bel Air mega mansion to his collection. And this wasn't just another rich guy house. This was architectural theater. It includes 7 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, a koi pond, a champagne room, DJ turntables built into the furniture, a glass bridge, and another private theater. It's the kind of place where even the closets are bigger than most apartments. Out back, another massive pool looks out over Los Angeles. We're not sure if Edwin lives there full-time, but the purchase made headlines everywhere. By then, his real estate spree alone had eaten up over $76 million, and people couldn't stop talking about it. Then came the cars. Edwin has a soft spot for Porsches. One of the first cars spotted in his driveway was a vintage white Porsche 911, worth about $250,000. He has been seen driving it multiple times, and fans say it looks showroom new. At a luxury car show in LA, he was even caught checking out a $1.6 million Mercedes-Benz Gullwing. Whether he bought it or not, who knows? But with his security team standing right behind him, he looked exactly like someone who could. Speaking of security, Edwin now travels with full-time protection. He has bodyguards, private drivers, and surveillance systems built into his homes. After all, when you are holding one of the biggest jackpots ever won, you are also holding a giant target. Edwin is not taking chances. But the funny part is, while his houses seem like somewhere a billionaire would live, his personal style doesn't. He is usually seen in hoodies, jeans, or simple button-down shirts. Sometimes his hair is pulled into a man bun. He vapes casually, steps out of his luxury rides like it's no big deal, and clearly doesn't care about impressing anyone with designer brands. There is something almost unreal about it. Walking out of a $25 million palace dressed like you just ran to the store. But maybe that's the whole point. Of course, the spotlight also caught a few glimpses of his new inner circle. Edwin started dating Peyton Vincent, a younger model who once worked as a barista and a bank teller in Maine before moving to LA. The two were first noticed on Instagram, then later spotted having sushi in West Hollywood. She rides around with him in his luxury cars, and they seem happy, laughing, and low-key about the whole thing. Behind the scenes, though, Edwin has built a professional team to manage his new world. His PR rep, Terry Fawn, has worked with celebrities and athletes, so keeping Edwin's name out of messy headlines is no accident. He has also brought in lawyers, financial advisors, and his brother Jesse, who has a banking background. Together, they have helped him take care of everything from property deals to security planning. But Edwin hasn't just been buying houses and cars. He has been traveling too. One of his first getaways was to Fiji, where he and friends rented out part of a floating bar called Cloud9. It's basically a two-story party platform in the middle of the ocean, reachable only by boat. He enjoyed the beginning of his new life here under endless sunshine without a single thought about how much it cost. Financial experts, of course, have had plenty to say. They warn that 70% of lottery winners lose it all within a few years. They tell big winners to stay low-key, avoid giant purchases, and focus on safe investments. Edwin clearly didn't take all of that advice. 3 mega mansions, expensive cars, luxury travel. None of that makes it seem like he's playing it safe. But the thing is, unlike many lottery winners before him, he is not piling on debt. He is spending, yes, but he is spending within his means. With over $600 million cash in hand, he can afford to live big without sinking himself. That hasn't stopped critics from taking shots. Finance blogs called his homes bad investments. Analysts questioned whether his cars were just wasting money. And columnists warned that the so-called lottery curse could still catch him. But while the world speculates, Edwin himself stays silent. He has made no public appearances or given any interviews. He seems perfectly fine letting the houses, cars, and headlines do all the talking. In just 2 years, Edwin Castro went from a mechanic no one knew to the most famous lottery winner alive. But before he could enjoy the good life, a huge problem showed up. One that could have changed everything. The mystery and the drama. Out of nowhere, a man named Jose Rivera filed a lawsuit claiming the winning ticket never belonged to Edwin at all. Rivera claimed that he bought the ticket, lost it, and then had it stolen by a man named Reggie. According to Rivera, Reggie tricked him into believing it wasn't a winner, then somehow passed it along, and then he saw Edwin Castro walk away with $2 billion. If true, it would have been one of the craziest cons in lottery history. But in California, the person holding the ticket is considered the legal winner. If you don't have a ticket, you don't get any payout. Rivera didn't have the ticket. All he had was his word and a crazy story. Meanwhile, Edwin stayed completely silent. He didn't give interviews, didn't show up in court, didn't even flinch. His lawyers handled everything and flat out denied the claims. They even said they had video proof of Edwin buying the ticket at Joe's Service Center in Altadena, the same place that got a $1 million bonus from the state for selling it. The case went downhill fast. First, all claims against the California lottery were dismissed. Then, when Rivera failed to respond to a court motion, the judge dropped the case against Edwin too. But the drama didn't end there. At one hearing, Rivera got so frustrated, he fired his lawyer on the spot and told the judge to just lock him up. Things spiraled so badly that the judge had to pause proceedings and move the whole thing to mental health court. Later, Rivera was charged with filing a false police report, which in California can mean fines or even jail time. So while Edwin was out buying mega mansions and vintage Porsches, the only man challenging his win completely self-destructed. It turned the biggest jackpot in history into a courtroom circus. And it left one truth standing. Edwin Castro really was the rightful winner of $2.04 billion. And today, he is occasionally seen enjoying that wealth. If you were shocked by Edwin Castro's story, just wait until you hear about the others. Not every jackpot ends with mansions and Porsches. Sometimes it ends in tragedy or even at a crime scene.